Hello, this is Tony or Mirage, whatever you want to call me, whoever you want to call me, whichever you want to call me. And right now, I'm going to do an album analysis slash my thoughts slash review, whatever you want to call it. Mainly my thoughts off the cuff on Spiderr by Bladee. If you're not really used to how this video style is, this channel may not be for you, for one. But also, you might want to go back and watch them, from the beginning, because I do explain a little bit more about how I like to do these types of videos in the first episode of Drainism, the one on glue, so I would check that out. But today we're going over Spiderr, and I'll be honest, I was a little hesitant to go over Spiderr just because, it's a very deeply packed album. The imagery is everywhere. The what a spider is important versus Blade's connection to the spider. If you're thinking about this imagery on a meta level, right? Which Blade wants you to do, or Blade is trying to show you how to do. The interpretation of symbols, right? That Blade puts into his lyrics that relate directly to his life, but also to our own. Certain symbols stick out to us, and that's how we're kind of connected to the musicians that we listen to, even if we never meet them, right? So let's get started off with Spiderr. An understatement is the first track. To say I feel some type of way would be an understatement. So Blade is just being very straightforward here. There's no deeper meaning behind that. It's just the feeling that he has, that's always with him. His shield, if you were to think of Shield Gang, to say he'd feel awful or in any way bad would be an understatement. Or maybe he does feel awful and bad. It's just on levels he can't explain. To say I feel some type of way specifically would be an understatement, So you have to think about that. He's saying, to say I feel some type of way, to say I feel really amazing or really bad or whatever you want to call it, would be an understatement. He's showing how describing this feeling that he has that comes from a higher power, if we're following that line, the feeling that he has is just so, he can't even describe it, right? And that's how he starts off the Spiderr album. I think I passed away, but we on vacation. Truth is, I feel some kind of hate pointed in my direction. Blade has gotten a lot of hate, from people who think the Drain community is toxic, and stuff like that. To you, man, I just want to say I hope you feel better. This is where Blade is speaking directly to... You can either interpret it as he's speaking directly to his friend, or Echo, or Tie Boy, or Lean, or White Armor. Whoever is going through a struggle. And then even ourselves. Blade says, I just want to say I hope you feel better. He's talking literally, right? To us. His music is like a message to us, right? Still feel your presence even when no one's around. He can still feel God or a higher power. He can still feel this feeling that he has, even when he's by himself. You can it's kind of in Crest, where he says, caress that feeling. He has that feeling with him, and that's how he can feel this presence even when no one's around. And it could be God, it could be his best friend, it could be, us, the listeners, which you'd have to think about what that means, But Blade specifically uses vague motifs, vague symbols to communicate his story. And this story is called Spiderr, right? So when you look at a spider, you can just think, oh, you can categorize it. That's just an insect on the ground, or not an insect, but arachnid on the ground, and it's got 8 legs, and it's a bug, and it does this, But then, look throughout history, look at all the media where they ever reference a spider, and they're going to connect on certain themes. Like the spider is, what Blade actually has. I wanted to show you real quick. This is one of the stickers that came with his album. And interestingly enough, it's not this album. Or no. I apologize. It did not come from one of his albums. It came as a sticker for the Spiderr long sleeve merch that I actually do have. But you can see the spider, and you can see that it's eating away at this fruit, right? So maybe this would be a good thumbnail. Sorry, just had to go for the thumbnail real quick. Right? So, I want you guys to try, if you want to, engage with this, is think about how Blade's music connects to your life, and it will start to make a lot more sense. You won't necessarily need, someone doing an analysis, right? Your favorite song, I'm sorry. You were always on my mind, a passing moment, half a second, my directions in the corner of your eye. It's more than enough for me to be immortalized. So Blade is saying that through his music, because his music is going to be around long after he's dead, this feeling is more than enough for him to be immortalized, in pop culture, right? Even when he dies, he'll still have a piece of him out there through his music, through his videos, right? Stuff on the internet. That's one way you can look at it, right? That's just the way that I look at it. Your favorite song is getting old, the same story being told. So here he's kind of critiquing like modern music, how they don't, they tend to stick with like, we're going to make a song. Because all songs are stories, essentially. That's just, what imagery they decide to use, right? So if you're thinking of, like, a Taylor Swift song, it's like, this song is a story about a breakup. We've heard it before, And I'm not to diss on Taylor Swift. I know she's an amazing musician in her own right. But I'm just trying to think of an example. Maybe, like, Miley Cyrus. Like, this is another, one of her pop, like, vague hits. I came in like a wrecking ball, kind of like how she came into the music scene like a wrecking ball after Hannah Montana. Anyways, I'm getting off track here. But he's kind of saying like the same story is being told over and over and over again. And there needs to be a new story, a new story that focuses on how everything in life is connected in some way. That would be my, theory or my guess, right? To holy lights we exposed, that they feel like they're being guided by this, they feel like they're being guided by this greater power, Too many fights in a row, there's no shame to let go, shame to let go. He's also saying that in order to keep this feeling with you, this, presence, whatever you want to call it, you have to let go of the things that you or your ego, but he's saying, or your ego is, holding on to, right? And so when he says shame to let go, he's saying like, what a shame I had to let go of these parts of myself. That's what I think it could mean, I would love to hear in the comments, any of you guys' thoughts on some of these, right? We start shining in golden. We've talked before about the power behind the symbol of gold, how it's shiny, but there can also be fool's gold, fake gold, But here he's saying we're golden, right? And he has that song Golden Boy, which is a great song. I recommend you listen to it. But he's trying to show like, look, all of this feeling that we're having by listening to music, this good feeling, is connected in some way, even if you can't fully see it. Every time you put on any song, you're going to get a feeling associated with that song, and that feeling is going to stay with you even when you're not listening to the song. We've talked about that. Hide my face, need my praise. He's kind of talking about how people have talked about how Blade, it's only a few music videos where you can fully see like what he looks like, because a lot of times he's covering his face or he's wearing a mask or something like that. So, but you have to think of that in relation to King Nothing. Like Blade doesn't. Okay, so this would be my theory on it. Is that Blade doesn't need the praise. All he needs is God. He just needs that feeling. But he hides his face because he doesn't want to get more and more popular. But he says, I need my praise. That's like the ego part of him that still wants to be liked and loved, on a greater scale, which I think we all do. We all, in some senses, want to be, I wouldn't say famous, but just liked and loved by everybody, you know? And I think we can all get there, if we're all just, if we think about the important role that each of us plays in our own life stories. So you have to think about that. It could have been a lot of stuff, but it just wasn't us. Maybe he's talking about a breakup, the very thought of how you operate, I'm filled up with disgust. There he could be talking about a breakup or the higher power. Maybe he doesn't have a truly pure, like, good-natured connection to the higher power. Maybe he has, like, one that's murky, because a lot of people can relate to God in different ways. I personally believe that you can relate to God in a good or a bad way, so, and all in between, So maybe he's saying the thought about how God operates, I'm filled up with disgust. Maybe he's experiencing some truth about God that he doesn't want to accept. Could be a possible interpretation, and that's why he's filled up with disgust. But, he's also talking about, relationships, right? He's like saying like the thought of how his girlfriend operates, how she runs her life, I'm filled up with disgust. Like he's talking about that as well. I live and die for the cause, nail me to the cross. Again, religious imagery. Jesus, died for everyone's sins. So he's saying, I'll die for everyone's sins. He doesn't need to, in my opinion, but that's what he's saying he's going to do. And in some ways, he does need to, because in order to experience this connection that Blade's talking about, being on the crest, you have to let your ego die in some ways. You have to let what you want go, your desires go, and accept what the man upstairs might want for you, right? Which is, a whole nother topic for discussion. I am still on understatement. Oh Lord. we're gonna have to keep it on going. Luckily, this next line is, I don't care very much, just about enough. I don't care. Yeah, what? Bet they know what's up with us. Gravity very up, won the World Cup. So, F the world, what? F the world, what? So he's saying, like, he has a dream of, like, everyone being in Drain Gang, And maybe not everyone being, but Drain Gang winning in some way, like a major win, And that would involve more people, Won the World Cup, right? But then he says, F the world. Like, I don't want to engage with them because they haven't let go, of their inner desires or passions that might be bad for them, right? I don't care very much, just about enough, All he cares about is just doing enough to put out music. And he secretly, if we go back, he says, I need my praise. Like, he needs to satisfy his ego by releasing music and having it get liked and views and stuff like that, So he's recognizing that part of himself, right? And then they repeat in the chorus, I don't care very much. And then the outro. Now, this is the part that stuck with me the most about this first song when I first started listening to Understatement. Never read the reason as a sign. Keep this little secret in your mind. Final destination is a sky. Caterpillar dreamt that it could fly. So he's going through all this stuff where he's saying, like, F the world, blah, blah, blah. And then he talks about a caterpillar dreaming that it could fly. Now, we know caterpillars, we can't, we're not necessarily thinking they're dreaming, but it's almost like it's a dream, but 9 times out of 10, probably higher, a caterpillar always does become a butterfly when given that opportunity to grow. So you have to think about that in relation to, you know, the symbol of a caterpillar, right? Final destination is the sky, to go up, right? So let's go to track 2. It's okay to not be okay. And oh, luckily this one will be easy because Blade makes it easy for me. Baby, maybe you can save me, Who's he talking about here? You have to think about it. Is he talking about God? Is he talking about a girl? Is he talking about a feeling? It's here. It seems to be about a girl. But you can, broaden out Blade's music if you broaden out the specific imagery and motifs he's given us. That's the whole goal of his music. Is it doesn't necessarily just mean one thing. It can mean different things to different people because it's vague enough. It's a vague enough story. But that doesn't mean it just means that when I say vague, I don't mean to say in a negative way. I'm just saying like it's vague enough in a way that it's still true. It's true to Blade. It's true to who he is. But it can be true to other people as well, right? So that's why his music is so powerful, right? Baby, maybe you can save me. Maybe something out there can save Blade from his whatever he's struggling with. It could be addiction. It could be, um, just what he would call his sins. In the Fool he says, confess your sins. And he says, Saint George, this demon in me, kill, kill, kill. You need to get rid of your demons, right? But it's okay to not be okay. And that's ultimately true, like when you're feeling down in the dumps or you're feeling sad about something that's, pretty meaningful. Maybe a loved one passed away. My dog recently died. That was extremely tough for me to deal with. And I bust into tears multiple times. Even 2 months later, I thought I had processed it, but I went to tears again, But it's okay to not be okay because you have other people who are a part of your life, who are a part of your story, who are helping you get through that tough moment, right? And so that's what Blade's saying. It's okay to not be okay. Now 3 is I'm slowly but surely losing hope again, like a spider, I'm trying to think about how to say this, but when you're looking at it like this, if you're thinking about this as the fruit, in the Garden of Eden, for example, or in like another story, the spider is on top of it, eating at the fruit. So if you think of this fruit as like, the fruit of the tree of knowledge, right? Blade is the spider. He's holding the spider in his hands in the album cover, and he's just like, allowing it to eat. So, but it's a spider and it's on top of this big fruit, so it's probably eating a little bit at a time, right? Anyways, on to I'm slowly but surely losing hope. High highs, low lows, high highs, low lows. I do love this, how he does it. He's explaining that his music, before he was talking about it's okay to not be okay. And now he's talking about fumbling in the dark, I'm going blind, Like, so his music, even his albums, are very jarring because of the motifs and how, he switches between dark and light. But even in the same album, he can have a song like It's Okay to Not Be Okay, which is beautiful, and really powerful, but then go boom, right into fumbling in the dark, I'm going blind, So he's saying high highs, low lows, Spider, he's trying to be in the middle, but even then he's struggling, falling through the circles in the sky, trying to figure out where I lost my little mind, Blade's talking about himself. The sword is getting drawn. He is the Blade. He is experiencing both sides of, you know, what people in his life are telling him is true. He says, okay, I see what you mean on this side. I see what you mean on that side, right? But in attempts to do this, he's fumbling in the dark. He's falling into his back again, into his own sins, or, whatever you want to call it, right? Into his own struggles. Destiny prefers a certain type. Luck is very shy, tends to hide, and she's not always not, and it's not always nice. I think this has to be a freestyle line because I cannot believe. Maybe it's not. Maybe he wrote it, but that to me is crazy. And I probably leave that one up for the viewers to try to, you know. But think about luck, and what luck means. Luck is very shy. Blade wishes us good luck, with his album Good Luck, right? And the price if you try in the end in this game, we all die, And that's something that death is a whole nother topic. How Blade relates to death is a whole nother topic for a whole nother video. He has his, obsessed with death song, And in Crest, he talks about death, But, and the price if you try, like he's basically saying, like, I'm trying to reach, the top of the crest of the mountain, And when I'm going through, I have to constantly balance myself because the moment I want too much for myself, that's when greed and pride goes in. But the moment you want something greater for everyone else, that's also where, if you have that power over other people, it's a lot of power. With great power comes great responsibility, right? So you have to think about that. Honesty creeping like a thief. No one want to hear the screams, no one else but me. For what? I was chasing something for the one thing I forgot. Was it that important? Maybe not. Maybe his whole quest to, conquer on this journey of life, maybe it's not important at all, Maybe it's got multiple layers to it, right? The angels sing for him, my baby, oh my darling. The angels sing for him, my sweet baby girl. This could be someone that he's lost, like maybe a girl. Maybe not lost in the sense of that they died, although it's possible. But maybe just a loss of someone who he was really close or intimate with. Maybe that, And he ends with high highs, low lows, right? Anyways, Icarus 3 style is the next song. And on Icarus 3 style, it's basically a freestyle. I mean, if you're not gonna, I don't think Blade is lying about that. I think he actually went to the studio and freestyled this. If you're one of those people who are like, nah, he pre-wrote it, then I'm choosing to trust Blade here. This is a freestyle. So he says, hero of my story. We've talked about that. Death or glory in the inner city, baby, it's the smaller things in life that really make a difference. This is what we've been talking about the whole time, right? It's, think about what a spider means, It's the smaller things at life that really make a difference, right? It's the small symbols, the symbols we overlook, Those really make a difference. That's why he has Open Symbols Play Be in Your Mind. That's why he has that track on Exeter, right? You gotta connect Blade's music together. Best believe it never was a joke, but I was always kidding. Cinderella only for one night. The shoe was really fitting, So Cinderella, you think of the story about how, she was someone who was not, up there in society. She was, at the bottom of the barrel, like cleaning mouse, cleaning her house of her step aunt, and stepsisters. But then she gets a makeup and she goes to the ball, and the prince, the most important person there, gives her a chance, and the thing is he was just enamored by her. The true message is it wouldn't have mattered what she was wearing. He was just enamored by her, you know. And so then the shoe really fits. He goes out and he finds her, the shoe. So Blade is saying, I'm like Cinderella, and God is like the prince, right? That's could be an interpretation of, the Cinderella motif that he uses in this song in Spiderr, but he also uses it in I believe they have a song called Cinderella. Let me double check that. Yeah, Cinderella. You know, she like me, but she think that I'm a weirdo. I love that song. I gotta listen to that again. Um, let's continue. DG9 is ugly in the street, gotta make it pretty. Damn. Navigate the mystery, we pull reality out of fiction. So basically he's saying the stories that people put, the stories and the movies and the books and the literature that people put out, that's fiction. We take the true elements, the parts of those fictional stories that are true about the human person. We take reality out of that fiction, right? Takes more than ambition, takes more than wanting it, really badly. He says, I can show you, you don't have to listen. So, he's showing us through his music, but you don't have to look at his music in this way. You can just view it as like, oh, this is a fun song to vibe to. I like the sounds in it, for example. You don't have to listen to Blade's message, is what he's telling you. I paint a perfect picture, strike that a beautiful image. And he says strike that because if you think about in Cold Visions, he says only God is made perfect, right? So he says, I paint a perfect picture, strike that a beautiful image. Because only God is made perfect, But so Blade is showing how he's struggling with his own ego right here. He's saying the picture I created is perfect, and God's like, Blade, it's not perfect. You can always get they say perfection is close to, or cleanliness is close to godliness. You can get really close, but you can never, be that higher power in your life. That's always got to be something else, something greater than you. That you put all your faith and your trust into. If you're, reading into this in a Christian lens, right? I'll raise the bar. They're obviously not up to par. I look up at the sky and I wish upon a star. Very special numbers on the crest, I have to hold it up, So he could be talking about 333, or he could be talking about 777, or he could be talking about, 666 or whatever numbers, he's talking about. He says there's special numbers on. I don't think it's 666. I would hope not. But he does have the 333, and you have to think about the importance of numbers in your life, and there's certain numbers like the number 3 that are, they say comedy comes in threes. Maybe that's not true. But just what is 3 in your life? Do you have 3 of any particular thing? Do you have 3 family members that mean a lot to you? Do you have 3 friends? He's saying take the numbers and realize how important these numbers are in my life and in everyone else's life, So if you're ever confused by the numbers, that's probably the best way I could explain it. I'm not, trying to say this is the 100% correct interpretation of, that line. Very special numbers on the crest, I have to hold it up, but that's just my interpretation. I tried to tell them we're not special, but still they idolize us, Blade, in his music, he always says, I'm king nothing, I am nothing, I'm not special, but people still look to him and like, kind of like put him up on a pedestal, right? They idolize us, he says, as fans, I wouldn't say I idolize Blade. I would just say I really connect with him and his message, And I think it'd be really cool, to like talk about his message more, That's what I would say. But he says his fans idolize us, right? I'm standing solid every season, but it's not solid enough. Baby, you can kill me with a touch. I'm flying too close to the sun. And then you think about Daedalus and Icarus, that Greek story, when he says he's flying too close to the sun, right? And that's why he says, I paint a perfect picture, flying too close to the sun, strike that a beautiful image, and then like he's really connected with this higher power, but he can't be the higher power himself, right? That's something that the spider, represents, is nibbling. Like, what if that spider nibbled and ate the entire fruit, the entire thing of knowledge? What would happen? You know, Probably something not good. I don't know. I don't like spiders. Um, so now we're on, and that was all. If that's all freestyle, that was crazy. Blade needs to be, freestyling more often, I would say. Nothing. And this has Wanda Mountain in it, which I haven't heard Wanda Mountain collab with Blade on any other projects. I haven't even. I should look into Wanda Mountain, but he says, keep it tight, 'cause we gonna see the light. Once you faithless, you got no place in my sight. And then he speaks his own language, which I think translated is, I'll read it translated. If we were to go now, my heart is beating. What if this happens? I'm thinking of your words. What if we finish now? You come to my heart. If we were to go now, you could carry me. And that's, whoa. That's amazing, poetry right there, Um, my heart is beating. What if this happens? I'm thinking of your words. He's thinking of Blade's words, but also the words of the higher power, that he's connecting with. If we were to go now, you could carry me, you could bring me to, the mountaintop, the crest, right? Or you could just hold me and comfort me, He's talking about this feeling that he gets from this higher power, right? I hear the streets talking, 1,000 miles still walking. I am a fool only for you. So this could be, he could be talking about a girl, he could be talking about God, right? I hear the night call my name, rain falling, Even in this album, Blade talks about rain, And so, if you want to hear more about what the imagery of rain is in connection to Blade, I recommend checking out my video. It's a two-parter, Rain World 1 and 2. Rain World was never officially released, right? But people have what they think it could have been, and that's what's out there right now. I do a analysis / my thoughts on that. And then Wanda Moment comes in English and says, you're my precious stone. I don't want to show it to anyone, which is interesting because, he could be talking about, the feeling that he gets from this higher power. He doesn't want to show it to anybody, or he could be literally just talking about a stone, something that he thinks is really cool, but he doesn't want to show it to anybody. And you have to think why, because they don't want to be idolized, right? Death with you. Death with you. He repeats death twice. Obsessed with you. What can I do? What can I say to make you understand? Catch my breath, 5-star crests. Solid star, tell me where you are. Bliss, bliss, bliss. Really, yes, we are. Blade is saying, like, I'm bliss incarnate because I give people this feeling, such a good feeling through my music, that I'm basically bliss incarnate, Now, I would say that comes from God, or a higher power. The feeling of just complete peace, right? That doesn't come from within. That comes from external. But he is saying bliss, yes we are, And then Wanda Mountain has some bars which there is no translation to, unfortunately. Oh, well, he repeats his same chorus. Until we need each other, no, we'll never need each other. Unless we need each other now, we'll never need each other now. So, think about that, Blade says that he needs other people in his life to bring him up, If I can stay only for another day, Maybe he's talking about how whenever you go to see your friend, or something like that, the meeting always ends, and it's always sad until you see them again. But so Blade is saying, if I could just hang out for another day, I would, you know. But nature makes a way, if I can say. He's ultimately saying he's not in control of that. The man upstairs is. And the man upstairs is in control of nature as well. Let's see. Blue Cross Angel. I think I might end on this one just because this video is starting to get pretty long. But don't worry, I will come back to finish. Well, I'm gonna do one more song, Blue Cross Angel, but I will come back to finish this review. I just want to keep these videos somewhat digestible, and I still gotta come out with timestamps, right? So this will be part 1, and we'll end on Blue Crush Angel. But I won't do a Cold Visions and leave you hanging. I'll release part 2, maybe perhaps tonight, but maybe in the next few days or whatever. So let's just end on Blue Crush Angel. Come out on top again, hope I don't flop again. Blade is talking about in his music career, he's had some, really popular songs, but then some that would be considered flops in the bigger music industry because they're not getting as many listens or clicks, right? So he's saying, hope I don't flop again. What happens, just gotta live with that pain. Do it for the glory and fame, but really is for the ain. And ain, I didn't even know this, is the highest of the 3 stages of being. It is characterized by a state of complete nullity, as the Hebrew word ain means nothing, So it's, once you realize that you're at nothing, you've reached this ain, And I would look more into that, but that's part of the reason why I want to stop the video here. Is there's still some imagery that I need to do some research in for this album, because the next one's Disaster Prelude, and that's all about Dante, Dante's Inferno, or not Dante's Inferno, but yeah, no, it is Dante's Inferno. Anyways, drop little blood, drop all in the name of good luck. He's connecting that to his Good Luck album. Still the same, but I grew up from whatever that was. Still the same me, don't touch. Dream in a dream into dust. He's saying how his life has become a dream, but he's never sleeping. Because he's on the path that God or the Lord is helping him with, right? Cover my back, my friend. Hope for an honorable end. What happens, just gotta live with that pain. We talked about that. I actually accidentally repeated that line. Felt I almost lost my mind. Had to take some time. Crazy. DG9, we hold the line and prepare the way. And if you think about the way from a Christian perspective, it's like preparing the path for the people to walk on so that they can all reach heaven. Blade is saying that he's playing a part in preparing the way. If you can put pride to the side, destiny decides. So that's pride we're talking about here. Blade is saying he's trying to put away his own pride. We all have pride in some sense, we have to keep it balanced. It's good to be, believe in yourself, but not to the point where you think everyone else is stupid and like I'm better than all them, right? I'm such a fool for you. He's a fool for God. He's a fool for his lover. Things we do for love tell me something, and even with a lot, it still wasn't enough, Even when you've achieved this peace, with the world, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, once you've achieved this peace with the thing that you don't have a full grasp on, you still want more, and so you have to keep yourself balanced, right? You have to keep yourself, neutral. 3 stars, but 6 points on the star. He's showing that our image that we have of a star is has 6 points, even though there's 3 stars, and 6 is a number that Blade wants you to look into. What is the symbolism behind the number 6 and how has it been used throughout history, right? Drew once again the shortest straw. To be the law, you break the law. I saw a rainbow in the dark. This is connected right to good luck. You know, because in Good Luck he has that song Rainbow. He saw a rainbow in the dark. He got to the lowest point in his life, you know, whether it be with drugs, addiction, maybe not even that, but just like his friends leaving him, you know. In Other Side, he says, got so many friends that have strayed from the light, you know. He's saying that he saw that rainbow. He saw that thing that brought him out of that, you know. I put a symbol in a song, I put a window in the wall. And so that's interesting, you know. He's talking again about these symbols that he's giving to us, you know, through his music, right? You wouldn't believe it when you see it. Stand so serene. Oh, I skipped a line. I put a window in the wall, to the statues in my mind stand forever. So he's talking about, maybe it's parts of his, I don't know, I'd have to think about this more, but maybe it's parts of his ego that are just like he does not want to let go. You know, those are statued in his mind, and he's saying, I'm going to hold on to these forever. You know, and I'm not fully certain on that one, so I'd love to hear in the comments what you guys think. But we'll end it there on track 6, and then I'll hopefully do part 2 tonight or within the next few days. Like, it will be my next Drainism episode, I will say. The only reason why I cut Cold Visions, or just called it Initial Thoughts, was just because I realized that it would take me a lot more time to analyze that album, you know, because it's so new. At least with these ones, I'm familiar, I'm comfortable with them. I just listened to Spiderr the other day, you know. Anyways, well, hope you guys have a good one. Peace.